crucial story, and this one's from India, where the budget session of the Indian Parliament begins today. Indian President Nath Kovind will address the joint sitting of the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. During his speech, he is expected to highlight the government's focus on development and efforts to empower the backward and weaker sections of the society. The Economic Survey of India will also be tabled today. The Economic Survey is the flagship annual document of the Ministry of Finance. It spells out the ministry's view on the annual economic development of the country. The document reviews the development in the Indian economy over the previous 12 months, summarizes the performance of major development and programs. It also highlights the policy initiatives of the government and the prospects of the economy in the short to medium term. The Union Budget 2018 will be presented by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley on February 1st, that is Thursday. The focus of this year's budget is expected to be job creation, and government is likely to offer incentives to the farming sector and small businesses. And Lok Sabha Speaker Sumitra Mahajan and Prime Minister Narendra Modi have both urged all opposition parties to collectively strive to create a constructive atmosphere in budget session. During an all-party meeting ahead of that crucial session, Prime Minister Modi assured that the government gives huge importance to the issues raised by all political parties. Now, other than the budget, several crucial bills will also be tabled in the Parliament during this session. As many as 28 bills will be tabled in the Lok Sabha, while 39 are listed for the Rajya Sabha in the upcoming budget session. The government has said that it will leave no stone unturned to ensure passage of Triple Talaq Bill in this session. The bill, which will make the practice of instant Triple Talaq in the Muslim community illegal, was passed in Lok Sabha during the last session. It awaits a nod from the Rajya Sabha. All right, for more on this, I'm joined by WION's political editor Kartikeya Sharma, who's joining us for more on this. Good morning, Kartikeya. Crucial day. A lot of high-ticket, big-ticket events are lined up for Monday, and from the President's speech to the beating retreat, and of course the crucial budget session kicks off today. What can we expect?
I think the importance of the day lies in the fact that all three are put together, happening together. The Economic Survey of India, the presidential address, beating the retreat, the press conference by the economic advisor to the government of India. But I think the focus would be on GDP. What President does is that he sums up the efforts of the government. He sums up the commitment of the government. He sums up what the government wants to do in future. But what happens in Economic Survey of India is the government gives you a layout of the economy. It gives you the layout of the GDP. It gives you a layout of the growth of the GDP, the growth of certain sections, how the GDP is going to do well, or what are the sections or this areas where the economy has done badly, which areas needs more focus, the commitment part of the government in terms of where economy should be going. So I think the economy will be focused because ultimately everything is boiling down to economy in post-GST and demonetization. So it's going to be an area of great concern for the government that when it comes to the Economic Survey of India, at least the right note and right mood is sounded. Because, it's it's like 72 hours before the budget. And for anything to go not as per the plan will create political issues for the government. They barely scraped through in Gujarat, despite demonetization, GST protest. And the government understands that it is dealing simultaneously with rural distress and urban issue with GST paperwork. So I think the government will have to reconcile all these issues because ultimately, all said and done, the credibility of the government is vested in the prestige of Narendra Modi. And I think that's where the focus will be, to ensure that that underpinning of the government remains, that it is committed, as the Prime Minister in his speech and his campaign promised, that certain areas of the government will be reformed, certain welfare structure will be supported and continued, and certain disruptions will.
Right. Kartikeya, if I may ask, one of the key issues, thorny issues that the Modi government is facing, and it's being cornered often, is the job creation. Remember when Prime Minister Modi spoke exclusively to WION, he said that, even small jobs, odd jobs that people are doing is also considered as job creation. And he gave that anecdote of somebody selling a pakoda outside our office. And remember, the Congress, the opposition, has been going after the Modi government after this comment. So all in all, this government has faced massive criticism over job creation. Do you think that could be one of the very, very crucial factors that the government will keep in mind while creating this year's budget and formulating the plan ahead?
You know, the biggest worry, if you look at the speeches, or if you hear the speech of Barack Obama and other people, it has been the post-globalization world is witnessing a jobless growth. The automation which is taking place, the way certain functions are being appropriated from human hand and going to robotics, or the development of robotics and artificial intelligence is depriving people of their work. That should be the biggest problem. And India has a huge population. So 50% of our population is involved in agriculture. Agriculture is not more than 20% of our GDP, which means that people are underemployed, which means that land has to sustain 10 times more people it can sustain, which leads to a lower level of living, or the income level falling, which means that poverty level is up there, high up there. So these are the issues which the Prime Minister will really need to focus on, that the jobless growth, which is the biggest nightmare in the West, does not come to India to stay. Because if you have jobless growth, and if somehow disruptions, I would say, destroy the local labor intensive economy, then India will be in trouble with the population ratio we have.
All right, and very aptly put there by our political editor Kartikeya Sharma. And thank you so much, Kartikeya, for that comprehensive update. We will keep coming back to remember it's a very crucial day that remains our top focus on WION throughout the day. Thank you so much for joining us.
Capture of data in the unorganized sector and in the services sector is not up to the mark. That the real growth in jobs must come from entrepreneurship, from the SMEs, from the unorganized sector, from the informal sector.